Webstudio now has MCP, which means we should be able to drop our Figma designs into Claude, ChatGPT, or any other agent and ask it to convert into a fully working Webstudio website and then hit publish in our Webstudio panel. How that looks into practice is something we'll look into today. We also will look how easy it is to connect to the Webstudio MCP without having to use any terminal or CLI. We will check how good of a job it does converting a design into a fully working Webstudio site, if it uses the correct elements, if it uses accessibility standards, SEO standards. Let's get into it and go step by step how we can convert existing Figma design into a fully working Webstudio website without writing any code. Before starting, what are the three things that we need for this? We need a Webstudio account, of course, where that project will be hosted. We need Claude Code, or you can use anything else like Codex or any other agent that works with the MCP. And we need a design, of course, that we will convert into this working website. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new project. For example's sake, I'm creating a project which is called Eden. Create project. The project will be created in a few seconds. Our project is ready. Whenever we create a new Webstudio project, of course, we have these two pages. They come by default. This is a home page and a 404 page. First of all, we need to publish this project. And secondly, we need a link. This share link is going to help Claude establish a connection between Webstudio and Claude itself. So how we can create that link is simply by clicking here, and then just naming the link. I like to name it MCP or whatever the link is for. It's completely optional. And we enable the builder permissions and API permissions. And then we will have a link once we click copy. And we publish this project. I know it's an empty project, and publishing it will just send it to a temporary domain. That temporary domain always has a username and password to it. So you don't have to worry that publishing it will put it live and you'll become really popular for your empty website. Just publish it and it will still have username, password, and it's not listed on Google or anything. Once we have published it and we have that link, we will go into Claude Code. Now that we are in Claude Code, I will just ask it to connect to my project, and then I'll give it a design to convert it into a fully working website. I'll just write connect to Webstudio MCP CLI using the project share link, and I'll just copy that share link, which is here, and then I will ask if this share link already has build access, create a folder locally on desktop if needed for this connection. So we are just asking Claude to connect to Webstudio MCP. We are giving it this link because this is the link that's going to help it connect to the project. We are just giving a little bit direction. The share link already has built access, and the project is already published as well. And then we are saying that if you need to create any local folder, just create it on desktop for this connection. So that's all, and let's just give it this prompt and let's see what happens. I might actually speed up the video if it takes too long, but it should not take more than like a minute or so. While we are doing all of this, it will also of course ask us for a couple of permissions, so we'll just allow. Okay, so we are back. It took around 4 to 5 minutes to connect. While it was connecting, it asked me around 7 to 8 times to allow for permissions, which is normal with Claude or actually any AI application. It will ask you to allow it to access your desktop or to access the link that you shared. So after all of that is done, we saw the summary that it created a folder on our desktop, which is the local copy of the project. It connected to this project that we gave the share link for, and it ran a couple of commands. So again, we are using Claude, so we don't have to worry about all of these things. The only thing now we need to do, and we are connected to the project, is we need to manually restart Claude one time. So I'll just quit my Claude and I'll start a new conversation, and then we should be good to go. So now I restarted my Claude and I am in a new chat window. I'll just select my project folder that it created, which is over here. It did mention that project to us when the connection was established. And now I'll just say list my pages in this Webstudio project. Ask us to allow a few times, which we did. and then we can see that we have these two pages. All we did is we gave it a share link. It connected to the project. After the connection was established, it asked us to restart the Claude and start a new chat window, which we did over here. And after doing that, I just asked it list my pages in my Webstudio project. Let's list these two pages, which is correct. When we created the project, we had just these two default pages. Now all we need to do now is drop in our design screenshot into this window and ask it to start developing it. So I've got a design over here. It's a quite simple design, but it does tick a couple of boxes, and we should be able to test it, how good it is in converting an existing design screenshot into a fully working site. We will just drop this as a screenshot. So this is not a Figma file or anything. It's literally a JPEG of my design. So I dropped it in the chat window, and now I will say using this design, build it in my Webstudio project on homepage. Ignore the responsive mobile version for now. If it can develop the desktop version, it will be able to develop mobile version. We know that because the Webstudio MCP uses vision, so it is actually able to see if there is anything that's broken in the layout or if any responsive issues need to be fixed. So for this test, we are just going to ask it to make the mobile desktop version. We'll ask it to ignore the images and use placeholder image element. This is because we have placeholder images anyway, so we don't need it to just download each of that image and upload it in the project. We can do that manually inside Webstudio as well. If your design already has the final images, then you don't need to write this. Let it extract the images from there and upload it in Webstudio. I'll also ask it to ignore the fonts for now, and that's simply because, again, I'm just using a default font. If you are using a custom font, you just have to upload the font files in Claude as well, and it will apply that custom font. So I'll just say ignore the fonts as well, use any default font. And for top navigation, use the radix menu element. And that's pretty much everything. I'll just let it do the job, and then I'll come back once it is done. Now, while Claude is working on the development of that page, I can heat up my lunch and have a small lunch break. And this is what web development should become now. We have all the tools, and we have MCP that connects to all the tools. We shouldn't have to sit in front of the computer and having to write code. So once I finish my lunch, we will go have a look what Claude has done and what it has made in Webstudio from the design that we gave. Okay, so our development is completed. It should usually take around 5 to 6 minutes for a page like this to be completed. So what we have as a result, you'll have to, of course, reload your project. And once you reload it, you can see that the whole project is here. Everything is done layer by layer. And if we quickly preview it, it's actually done quite well. So we have got the hero banner, and the image is as a background as expected. We have the top navigation, we have got our menu, we've got that 3-column grid that we had in design, we have our content block, and then we have a form. And you'll also notice what's good about the form is actually it's an accessible form, so I'm using my keyboard actually to navigate, and it has the active state and a default state as well, which is the bare minimum for accessibility standards. Let's quickly go and look at the top menu. It has used the radix menu for that, so it's not like some static links over here. It is actually using the radix menu element, and same applies for the form. It's actually using a form element. So overall, it has done a great job, and it would take around 4 to 5 minutes for the full page to be developed. I could just come here and upload whichever images I wanted. So we have the image element. I could replace it with any other image. What's also interesting is that it actually read the image that we gave it in design, and it tried to add the right alt tag for that image. So if you remember, in our image, we had this background for the banner. So it read that there's a sunset picture of Mount Eden, and it add that as an alt tag, which is pretty impressive. If you want to give it more prompt to do these kind of things for alt tags and headings and all of that for SEO, it can do even better job. I didn't even add any prompt for alt tags or anything with SEO, but it did still add the right alt tag. Hashtags is also seem to be done quite well. So we have H1 over here, which it should be. Over here we have H2. Over here we have H3. So I guess how it's doing it is based on the size of your font. it's assigning the age tag to it. So overall, I think it did a pretty decent job, considering that we only did 4 lines of prompt. We asked Claude to connect to Webstudio MCP. We didn't have to open any terminal. We didn't have to do anything. Claude did all of that. Once the connection was established, we gave it just a 4-line prompt to develop the design that we gave it. Now, considering that we only gave it a screenshot of the design, not even a Figma file, it did a pretty decent job. So this can run really well if you're doing it on scale. So if you've got 10-15 pages to develop, instead of going page by page, you can just throw all those designs and ask Claude to just develop it for you. Beautiful thing is you don't have to go into terminal, you don't have to go into anything. Simply open Claude Code, ask it to connect to Webstudio MCP, then give it the design and give it those prompts that you like. Of course, you can do a lot more with prompting, but what is even more amazing is that if you're using any external services such as headless CMS, or if you are having any other MCPs, you can have all of that connected to Claude. So you can ask Claude to establish a connection from a headless CMS to your front end in Webstudio. So this will overall automate a lot of things. Claude will talk to the Figma design through Figma MCP, the headless CMS through MCP, and then Claude can talk to the Webstudio front end also using MCP. I hope you're as excited about this as I am, because as a designer, I don't want to be writing any code. I just want to drop my Figma files into Claude and have it do this job for me in Webstudio. So give it a try if you've got a Webstudio account and connect Claude to it and then see how it goes.